The galaxy watched countless worlds, but none like Earth. A tiny blue planet hiding intelligence no one expected. Humans shocked the universe with creativity, strategy, and courage. The moment aliens truly saw humanity, the galaxy fell completely silent. Witness the planet that changed everything. Subscribe now to see more epic human victories that stunned the galaxy. Don't miss a single story of courage, strategy, and unstoppable power. The alien scouts moved silently through the cold emptiness of space, their sleek ships cutting through the darkness like sharp blades. They had traveled for light years, passing countless stars, nebula, and planets. Most of the worlds they had seen were lifeless, barren, or occupied by civilizations far below the galactic standard. They were experts at judging intelligence, at predicting which planets could rise to galactic relevance, and yet this tiny blue world caught their attention without warning. As they approached Earth, the scouts activated every sensor, every probe, and every scanning device available on their ships. Their advanced instruments recorded vast amounts of data in mere seconds, analyzing atmospheric composition, energy patterns, and electromagnetic signals. The planet seemed simple at first. Water covering much of its surface, land masses scattered unevenly. But as the data streamed in, subtle anomalies appeared, signals that didn't match any known natural patterns. The scouts were puzzled. They had never encountered such irregularities on a world so apparently primitive. The signals were small, almost hidden, but they suggested thought, coordination, and purpose, something no random planet could produce on its own. They shared these findings with the Galactic Council, transmitting streams of data faster than light, expecting a bored acknowledgement or a routine dismissal, but instead, a quiet curiosity began to spread among the council members. No one could immediately explain why this planet felt different. There were no massive weapons, no galactic-level civilizations, nothing to mark it as a threat or a treasure. Yet somehow, it radiated a kind of potential, a raw, unpredictable energy that the aliens could sense but not quantify. The scouts recorded every detail: swirling storms, shifting landscapes, flickering lights of distant cities at night, and subtle patterns of electromagnetic waves that hinted at life not only surviving but thriving in unexpected ways. As they drew closer, the aliens observed the first signs of movement on the planet's surface. Tiny figures walking, running, building, and interacting in ways that seemed chaotic yet strangely purposeful. Even from orbit, the scouts could see evidence of culture. Structures rising from the ground, shapes that suggested art, communication, and thought. Nothing in the galaxy's records could compare to this combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The scouts' algorithm struggled to categorize it, each calculation suggesting both insignificance and importance at the same time. One of the senior scouts, a being who had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, could hardly contain a sense of disbelief. "This world is different," it said, not aloud, but through data pulses transmitted to the fleet. "There is something alive here, something vibrant, something that defies prediction." The other scouts agreed silently, running simulations, attempting to measure the unmeasurable. But the more they observed, the more unpredictable the world became. The patterns of life did not fit standard models, and the creatures moving on the surface showed signs of both cooperation and conflict in ways that were entirely unfamiliar. The scouts could feel the anticipation building across the fleet. The Galactic Council had been right to dispatch them, but even the Council could not have imagined what awaited. This planet, small and seemingly insignificant, was already rewriting expectations. Its surface glimmered with rivers, forests, cities, and lights that moved in complex, almost artistic patterns. The scouts began to notice that the planet's inhabitants, while small in number compared to galactic standards, exhibited behaviors of intelligence, creativity, and resilience. They were not organized like other civilizations, not easily predictable, and that made them dangerous to underestimate. As the ships moved into closer orbit, scanning the world layer by layer, the scouts' reports became filled with awe and uncertainty. Every sensor reading seemed to reveal new complexity, new life, new signals that hinted at intelligence beyond simple survival. Even the storms, the winds, and the oceans seemed to carry patterns, rhythms, and energy that resonated with the life forms below. The aliens realized that they were witnessing a world alive in ways they had never calculated. The fleet finally stabilized in a high orbit above one of the larger continents, its sensors feeding a continuous stream of data back to the Council, and for the first time, the scouts felt something unusual, curiosity mixed with caution. They had expected to catalog, to label, and to leave, but now they could not look away. The tiny blue planet seemed to hum with untapped potential, unpredictable energy, and a strange kind of intelligence that made the vast galaxy fall silent in anticipation. Even the oldest and most experienced among them knew that this first glimpse was only the beginning, that in this unremarkable corner of space, something remarkable was growing, something that could change everything the galaxy thought it knew. The alien scouts stared at Earth, the blue jewel spinning beneath them, knowing instinctively that the galaxy had never seen anything quite like it before. The alien scouts had spent days orbiting the planet, studying every inch of its surface and scanning the electromagnetic spectrum for any hint of intelligence. At first, the signals they detected were faint and irregular, almost like random noise. But as their instruments refined the data, patterns began to emerge. Subtle pulses of radio waves, flashes of light, and other forms of communication that suggested deliberate thought. The more they analyzed, the more the scouts realized that these signals were not natural phenomena. They were the product of intelligent beings. The Galactic Council had warned them to be cautious, to expect primitive technology and simple social structures. But the evidence challenged every assumption. The signals were complex, layered, and interconnected, indicating coordination across vast distances. The scouts attempted to decode the patterns, using the most advanced algorithms available in the galaxy. But the human methods of communication were unlike anything they had encountered. Full of redundancy, humor, emotion, and unpredictability, these signals carried not only information, but also personality, creativity, and intent. The scouts shared their findings with each other in real time, exchanging data streams faster than light could travel across conventional networks. "This cannot be random," one of the senior observers transmitted. "Every signal shows intentionality, and the structure suggests collaboration on a scale we did not anticipate." The others agreed, but even among the fleet, there was a growing sense of unease. They had encountered many civilizations before, but none had exhibited this combination of simplicity and sophistication simultaneously. As the scouts focused on particular regions of the planet, they noticed that the signals originated from multiple points, suggesting that these intelligent beings were not centralized. They were dispersed, operating independently, but still somehow coordinated. There was no single power controlling them, yet their actions hinted at shared understanding, a collective intelligence that could adapt rapidly to changing conditions. This decentralized behavior baffled the scouts, as most advanced civilizations in the galaxy relied on hierarchical control and uniformity, not the chaotic, dynamic interactions displayed here. The scouts observed cities, towns, and settlements lit up by energy sources that fluctuated with unusual rhythms. Patterns of light shifted across landscapes in ways that suggested signaling or messaging. The creatures moving within these spaces acted in both predictable and unpredictable ways. And yet, despite their apparent chaos, there was a sense of purpose in their movements. The scouts could see the early stages of technology development: machines, structures, energy grids, all intertwined with natural elements, showing a harmonious yet inventive approach that no other species had achieved at this stage. Attempts to interpret the signals caused frustration and fascination in equal measure. The scouts realized that the beings communicating were capable of abstract thought, creativity, and problem-solving far beyond what the Galactic Council had predicted. Even when signals appeared trivial or playful, they contained layers of information that hinted at cultural, social, and intellectual depth. The scouts noted patterns of education, cooperation, and even forms of entertainment embedded within the transmissions, suggesting that these beings valued more than survival alone. They valued knowledge, expression, and connection. The discovery of these signals forced the fleet to reconsider its mission. Originally, they had planned to observe and report back, but now the nature of the intelligence they were witnessing demanded more careful analysis. They began to calculate the potential consequences of engaging or revealing themselves. Each simulation produced results that were both intriguing and alarming. The unpredictability of these beings made them difficult to categorize as either a threat or a potential ally. But one thing was clear: the humans were far from ordinary. The scouts also noticed the speed at which these beings adapted to environmental changes. The signals shifted subtly in response to planetary events, storms, solar flares, and geological activity, all indicating rapid learning and problem-solving abilities. The humans seemed to interact with their environment intelligently, using trial, error, and intuition in a way that no other civilization in the galaxy had demonstrated. Even small-scale experiments, like building structures or modifying their surroundings, generated signals that reflected careful observation and iterative improvement. The fleet's data reports back to the Galactic Council became increasingly urgent. The scouts' initial assumption of a simple, primitive planet was completely overturned. Instead, Earth displayed a dynamic intelligence, resilient, creative, and unpredictable. One of the scouts summarized their findings with a simple transmission: "This is not a planet to be underestimated," and every member of the fleet felt the truth of that statement. The subtle signals they had first dismissed as background noise were now the clearest indicators that humans were not only alive, but remarkably intelligent, capable of challenging even the most experienced observers in the galaxy. For the first time, the Council and the Scouts understood that the galaxy's assumptions had failed. Earth was not just another small planet. It was a puzzle, a challenge, and possibly a force that could alter interstellar perceptions forever. The aliens continued to monitor the signals, their curiosity growing with each passing hour, knowing that what they were witnessing was something entirely new, something that demanded attention, respect, and caution. The humans' communications, so small and faint at first, had become a beacon that could not be ignored. The Galactic Council had received the Scouts' reports about the tiny blue planet, and there was a mixture of disbelief, curiosity, and urgency across the galaxy. After analyzing the data, the Council concluded that a closer investigation was necessary. They decided to send a fleet not just to observe, but to monitor, understand, and if necessary, interact with the inhabitants of this unusual world. The mission was carefully planned, with ships equipped with the latest technology for surveillance, communication, and, if needed, defensive measures. The aliens assumed it would be a routine expedition, a quick observation of a primitive planet before returning to the Council with their findings. The fleet mobilized with precision, each ship moving in calculated formation, traveling at speeds faster than light. Their sensors were set to detect every detail on the planet's surface, from the smallest movements of individual beings to large-scale energy patterns. The aliens prepared for every possible scenario, running simulations of encounters, conflicts, and communications. They anticipated that the humans would be simple, uncoordinated, and easy to categorize, as most civilizations at this level had been. As the fleet entered the outer orbit of the planet, the first glimpses of Earth's complexity became undeniable. Cities glimmered with lights. Networks of energy crisscrossed continents, and the movements of living beings were surprisingly coordinated. The Scouts exchanged silent pulses of data, sharing astonishment at the unexpected sophistication. Even from space, patterns emerged that suggested not only intelligence but culture, communication, and rapid adaptability. The fleet's leaders began to realize that this mission might not be as simple as they had imagined. The aliens deployed specialized observation probes to gather more detailed information. The probes hovered silently above cities, forests, and oceans, recording every electromagnetic emission, energy fluctuation, and motion pattern. They detected rapid problem-solving behaviors, evidence of technological innovation, and even signs of social organization that were remarkably advanced for a planet so seemingly isolated. Each new discovery challenged the assumptions the fleet had relied on for centuries, forcing the commanders to pause, recalculate, and adjust their approach. The Scouts attempted initial communication, sending simple encoded messages toward the planet in multiple frequencies. Their goal was to test responsiveness and intelligence, expecting either no reply or minimal interaction. To their surprise, the humans responded almost immediately. Not with random signals, but with structured, intelligent, and deliberate patterns. There was thought behind every response, and the aliens quickly realized that the humans could think in ways that no algorithm had predicted. Their curiosity, creativity, and adaptability were apparent even in these first interactions. The fleet also observed the humans' interaction with their environment, noting how they manipulated energy, resources, and structures with precision and innovation. Unlike other civilizations the Scouts had studied, humans did not follow a rigid hierarchical system. Their society appeared decentralized, dynamic, and flexible, with individuals and small groups capable of making impactful decisions. This unpredictability made the humans difficult to assess using conventional methods. Each new observation produced fresh questions, and the Scouts had to abandon many of their assumptions about how intelligent life should behave. Simulations conducted by the fleet indicated that humans could respond to unexpected events with ingenuity rather than predictable protocols. They adapted quickly to challenges, using available tools and knowledge in novel ways. The aliens realized that conventional strategies for observation or manipulation might fail, as humans could improvise solutions that no other species in the galaxy had managed. This potential made the planet fascinating and, at the same time, cautiously concerning. The Galactic Council monitored the fleet's progress closely, receiving live streams of data that depicted a world alive with activity, intelligence, and innovation. Even the most experienced council members were forced to reconsider their understanding of life and intelligence. The humans were not just surviving, they were thriving, evolving, and demonstrating capabilities far beyond what had been predicted for a species at this level of technological development. The Council began to debate the potential implications, considering whether Earth could become a pivotal force in the galaxy. As the fleet positioned itself for a full orbital survey, the Scouts felt a mix of awe and apprehension. The mission had started as a simple reconnaissance, but now it was clear that Earth demanded respect and careful study. Every sensor reading, every observation, and every interaction indicated intelligence, creativity, and adaptability on a scale that no civilization in the galaxy had ever displayed. The aliens knew that their calculations had underestimated the humans, and that their journey to this planet might be only the first step in understanding a force that could change galactic history. The Scouts' reports continued to stream back to the Council, filled with unprecedented details. The humans' response to observation was intelligent, unpredictable, and entirely novel, challenging the very foundations of alien assumptions. The fleet now realized that this world, which had seemed ordinary from afar, was extraordinary in every measurable way, and the aliens prepared themselves for the next phase of their mission with caution, curiosity, and growing respect for the beings they had come to study. The alien fleet hovered silently above the planet, their sensors scanning every inch of the surface, expecting to find primitive settlements, scattered tribes, or disorganized clusters of life. Instead, what they observed surprised them completely. The cities glimmered with energy networks, sprawling in patterns that suggested planning, engineering, and communication far beyond what the Scouts had anticipated. Streets moved like veins carrying life and purpose. And even the smallest villages demonstrated ingenuity in construction and organization. From orbit, the Scouts could see patterns of movement among the inhabitants that suggested coordination and purpose. Individuals worked together to achieve tasks, built structures, and transported resources with efficiency and skill. There was a rhythm to their actions, an almost musical synchronization that seemed impossible for a species so small and isolated. The aliens could sense intelligence not just in their technology, but in the way these beings interacted with one another. The humans were solving problems in real time, improvising when challenges arose, and adapting their environment to suit their needs. The Scouts focused on the technological signatures emanating from the planet. The humans were using energy sources that were advanced yet subtle, harnessing power in ways that were sustainable and creative. Unlike other civilizations the fleet had studied, the humans did not rely solely on brute force or mass production. They combined innovation with practicality, using every tool, resource, and idea to its maximum potential. The alien observers realized that these beings were not only intelligent, but extraordinarily inventive, capable of creating complex systems without centralized control. When the fleet zoomed in on specific regions, they noticed human activity that reflected culture, science, and exploration. Individuals were seen observing their environment, conducting experiments, teaching, and learning. Even recreational activities displayed strategy, creativity, and social bonding. The scouts were particularly fascinated by the adaptability of humans, how they could respond to unexpected changes in their surroundings with speed, flexibility, and intelligence. The humans' ability to improvise and cooperate defied every model the aliens had ever used to predict behavior. The alien commanders compared this with previous civilizations they had monitored. Most species followed rigid hierarchies where a central authority dictated actions, but humans appeared decentralized, operating independently yet harmoniously. They communicated, negotiated, and coordinated without needing constant oversight. Their innovations emerged from both individual creativity and collective problem solving. The scouts realized that this level of distributed intelligence was rare, perhaps unprecedented in the galaxy. The aliens also examined the humans' defensive and survival behaviors, expecting them to be weak or chaotic. Yet, when minor environmental challenges occurred, a storm, an earthquake, or a sudden resource shortage, the humans responded strategically, reorganizing themselves, employing tools, and protecting one another. Their resilience was remarkable, and their capacity to learn from small failures indicated a rapid evolutionary intelligence. The scouts noted every detail, recording both actions and reactions, knowing that such adaptability was dangerous to underestimate. Even the humans' communication puzzled the fleet. The signals transmitted across cities and regions were not only functional but embedded with creativity, humor, and emotion. The aliens' algorithms struggled to decode the depth of meaning. For every pattern detected, there seemed to be layers of thought, personality, and intent. Humans did not merely exchange information, they expressed ideas, feelings, and imagination in every interaction. The fleet could sense the energy of a species capable of thinking far beyond mere survival. As the observation continued, the scouts noticed that humans had a strong sense of curiosity and exploration. Small groups ventured into unknown areas, experimented with new techniques, and shared knowledge quickly. They observed nature, learned from it, and used it to improve their communities. The aliens were amazed at the way humans balanced risk with reward, creativity with necessity, and cooperation with independence. It was unlike anything seen elsewhere in the galaxy. The fleet realized that observing from orbit was revealing only a fraction of the humans' capabilities. Each scan, each signal, and each movement suggested layers of intelligence and innovation waiting to be uncovered. The unpredictability of human behavior made them both fascinating and intimidating. No simulation or historical precedent could prepare the scouts for the reality of what they were witnessing. By the end of the first full day of observation, the alien commanders convened virtually, exchanging data and insights. They admitted, almost reluctantly, that the humans were unlike any civilization they had encountered. Their combination of intelligence, creativity, adaptability, and coordination defied all previous assumptions. The fleet understood that Earth was not just another planet with life. It was a hub of dynamic, innovative intelligence that demanded respect, careful study, and perhaps even caution. The alien scouts could feel the weight of the discovery pressing upon them. Every signal, movement, and structure hinted at potential far greater than expected. The humans' ingenuity, resilience, and unpredictability had transformed what was supposed to be a routine mission into a revelation. And for the first time, the aliens understood that the galaxy had underestimated the inhabitants of this small blue planet. The alien fleet, now closely observing the planet, decided it was time to attempt contact. They prepared communication probes, carefully encoding messages in multiple frequencies and formats, expecting either silence or minimal responses. Their assumption was that these humans, though intelligent, would be primitive, unable to understand or respond meaningfully. The probes were launched from orbit, carrying symbols, sounds, and visual signals designed to gauge comprehension and test the inhabitants' reactions. At first, there was only a faint response, a ripple of signals bouncing back toward the fleet. The aliens analyzed it carefully, expecting randomness or confusion, but what they received was startling. The humans were responding with structure, intention, and intelligence. Each signal contained information, purpose, and even creativity. There were patterns within patterns, layers of communication that suggested both knowledge and curiosity. The scouts quickly realized that the humans were not simply reacting. They were thinking, interpreting, and interacting in ways that the fleet had not predicted. The aliens intensified their efforts, sending more complex messages, including mathematical problems, symbolic puzzles, and simple images of the fleet and planet. Hoping to establish understanding, they watched as humans began to reply with increasingly sophisticated signals. Using a mixture of light, sound, and electromagnetic pulses, the humans displayed problem-solving skills, ingenuity, and the ability to infer meaning beyond direct information. The fleet was astonished. The humans were not just intelligent, they were creative, adaptive, and capable of abstract thought. As communication continued, the scouts began to notice traits that were completely unexpected. Humans were playful in their responses, inserting humor, irony, and elements of surprise. The messages did not simply answer questions. They asked new ones, suggested ideas, and sometimes deliberately confused the algorithms designed to interpret them. The aliens realized that the humans' thinking was nonlinear, unpredictable, and highly flexible. A species capable of thinking outside rigid patterns, capable of innovation and imagination in real time. The scouts observed how the humans' communication was tied to their environment and culture. Each city, settlement, or group sent unique signals, reflecting local priorities, creativity, and style. Yet there was coherence across regions, a shared understanding and social intelligence that allowed them to coordinate on larger scales. The humans were decentralized but connected, independent yet collaborative. It was a form of intelligence that the galaxy had never seen before, complex, resilient, and dynamic. Attempts to model the human responses in simulation failed repeatedly. Each new message defied predictions, contained layers of meaning, and revealed new ways of thinking. The scouts felt a mixture of excitement and unease. Their understanding of intelligence, strategy, and civilization was being challenged. They realized that these humans could not be categorized as simple, primitive, or easily controlled. They were adaptive, creative, and capable of responding to surprises in ways that no alien algorithm could anticipate. The aliens also noticed the humans' emotional intelligence. The signals contained subtle cues of empathy, collaboration, and social awareness. Even when engaging in problem-solving, humans seemed aware of one another's perspectives, adjusting their responses for cooperation or negotiation. The scouts, who had dealt with countless species that relied solely on logic or instinct, were astonished by this combination of intellect and social sophistication. The humans' ability to blend reasoning, creativity, and empathy made them unpredictable and formidable. From orbit, the fleet could see that humans were experimenting, testing responses, and exploring possibilities. They were learning quickly, adapting to each new challenge, and sometimes intentionally altering their behavior to test the limits of understanding. The aliens recognized that this adaptability was not just survival, it was innovation, experimentation, and evolution in action. Humans were actively shaping their knowledge, culture, and environment in ways that suggested foresight and ingenuity. The fleet convened to assess the impact of these communications. It became clear that humans were not only intelligent, but possessed a unique combination of traits: creativity, adaptability, unpredictability, and social intelligence. No species in the galaxy had ever demonstrated this combination at such a level of development. The Council's initial assumption of a simple, primitive planet was completely overturned. Earth was alive with innovation, curiosity, and strategy, and its inhabitants could think far beyond what any alien civilization had imagined. By the end of the first full communication cycle, the scouts realized that humans were not simply responding, they were engaging, learning, and even teaching back through their signals. Every interaction revealed new insight, new patterns, and new layers of intelligence. The aliens understood that any further observation or engagement would require caution and respect. The humans' creativity, adaptability, and unpredictability had made them a remarkable species, one that could challenge assumptions, inspire awe, and perhaps even change the balance of understanding across the galaxy. The fleet remained in orbit, monitoring, learning, and marveling at the responses. The humans' intelligence, expressed through communication, had proven that they were more than observers expected. They were active, inventive, and unpredictable participants in the galactic stage, capable of adapting and responding in ways that one alien or council member could have anticipated. The first contact had revealed a species extraordinary in intellect, creativity, and spirit, setting the stage for the next phase of observation. The Galactic Council watched the live feeds from the fleet in stunned silence. The images and data streaming in from orbit showed a world far beyond what anyone had predicted. Cities glimmered with light, energy grids pulsed with efficiency, and humans moved with purpose, intelligence, and adaptability that seemed almost impossible for a species the Council had assumed was primitive. Even the most experienced members could hardly believe what they were seeing. Reports detailed not just the technological accomplishments of the humans, but their creativity, collaboration, and problem-solving abilities. The fleet had recorded humans working together to build structures, manage resources, and respond to environmental challenges with speed and ingenuity. Unlike any other civilization previously studied, humans combined logic with intuition, strategy with creativity, and planning with adaptability. Their behaviors were not rigid or easily predicted, making them both fascinating and potentially dangerous to underestimate. The council members began to understand why the scouts had been so impressed. The humans' intelligence was multifaceted, spanning technical skill, social organization, and cultural expression. Even simple tasks demonstrated innovation, while complex challenges were approached with ingenuity, experimentation, and communication. The scouts noted that humans did not rely on hierarchical commands to operate effectively. Instead, independent action, cooperation, and rapid learning created a system far more flexible and resilient than anything the Council had encountered before. As the fleet continued to monitor, the scouts observed humans responding to unexpected events with extraordinary speed. A sudden storm, a shift in terrain, or a natural hazard prompted rapid problem-solving and adaptation. Tools were modified, shelters reinforced, and strategies changed on the fly. The humans demonstrated foresight and improvisation, anticipating problems before they became critical, and working together to overcome them in ways that no algorithm could have predicted. The Council realized that humans possessed not only intelligence, but social awareness, empathy, and emotional depth. The humans' communications, actions, and collaborations revealed awareness of others' needs, intentions, and limitations. Decisions were often made for mutual benefit rather than self-interest alone. A species capable of blending cognitive skill with emotional insight had never been encountered before. And the implications of such a combination were both exciting and unsettling for the observers. The fleet also noticed patterns of innovation that spanned generations. Humans built upon past knowledge, experimented with new ideas, and shared discoveries across communities. Even small settlements contributed to technological progress, showing an ability to learn collectively and propagate ideas. This cumulative intelligence was unlike anything in the galaxy, where most civilizations required central authority to advance. Humans thrived in decentralized networks, producing solutions, art, and strategies that no one individual could have conceived alone. As the data streamed back to the Council, simulations struggled to account for the humans' unpredictability. Every model failed to fully capture their ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability. It became clear that the humans were not merely surviving. They were actively shaping their world, learning, experimenting, and evolving in real time. The fleet's observations highlighted that the humans' combination of creativity, adaptability, and social intelligence made them a species capable of extraordinary achievements. Even when measured against advanced civilizations across the galaxy, the Council members began to discuss the potential ramifications. Earth was no longer a simple anomaly. It was a challenge to existing assumptions about intelligence, strategy, and power. Any interaction, observation, or engagement with this species would require care, respect, and preparation. The humans were unpredictable, capable of rapid learning and innovation, and possessed a combination of traits that could disrupt conventional galactic thinking. Their unpredictability inspired both awe and caution. The scouts noted that humans also displayed cultural depth, creativity, and curiosity. Beyond problem-solving and survival, they created, explored, and expressed themselves. Art, music, Architecture and scientific inquiry flourished simultaneously, suggesting a species that valued knowledge, expression, and progress as much as survival. This integration of intellect, creativity, and emotional depth made humans truly unique, something the Council had never anticipated encountering in such a small, isolated world. By the end of the observation period, the Council and fleet agreed on one undeniable truth. The galaxy had underestimated Earth. The humans were exceptional in every measurable way. Their intelligence, innovation, resilience, and social awareness challenged centuries of assumptions. Even the most experienced scouts admitted that no prior civilization could match the combination of traits displayed. The humans had proven themselves worthy of attention, respect, and perhaps even caution. As the fleet continued to orbit the planet, the humans went about their lives unaware of the scrutiny above. Yet every action, every signal, and every innovation was a revelation, showing the Council that Earth was not merely another world. It was a beacon of extraordinary intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. The galaxy had paused, silent in awe, as the humans continued to thrive, innovate, and inspire, proving that underestimated potential could surpass even the highest expectations. The alien fleet, having observed Earth for weeks, decided to test the planet's defenses and capabilities. They wanted to understand how these humans would react to threats, challenges, and unexpected situations. The scouts assumed that any attempt to challenge them would reveal their weakness. That humans, being small in numbers and technologically limited compared to the fleet, would struggle or fail under pressure. They prepared simulations of minor interventions, environmental disruptions, and technological tests, expecting predictable responses. The first experiment involved creating controlled disturbances in human infrastructure, small power outages, temporary communication disruptions, and minor environmental changes. The scouts watched as humans reacted with astonishing speed, repairing systems, improvising tools, and coordinating responses across vast distances. Even when conventional methods failed, humans adapted creatively, using whatever resources were at hand, and sometimes inventing entirely new solutions on the spot. The fleet observed this with growing respect, realizing that the humans' ingenuity was far beyond what simulations had predicted. The aliens then escalated their tests, introducing more complex challenges, such as sudden weather events, resource scarcity, and simulated attacks on human settlements. The humans responded not with panic, but with strategy, organization, and adaptability. They formed teams, delegated tasks, and improvised defensive measures. Combining creativity, logic, and intuition, humans were able to neutralize problems in ways that no algorithm could anticipate. Their ability to think quickly and coordinate effectively under pressure astonished the fleet. The scouts noticed that humans did not rely solely on technology or brute force to overcome obstacles. Instead, they used problem-solving, observation, and trial and error, learning from every failure and adjusting strategies in real time. A group faced with a sudden flood might construct barriers from local materials, while another group would organize evacuation routes and communication signals to keep everyone safe. The fleet realized that humans were not just resilient. They were highly intelligent, resourceful, and capable of applying knowledge in practical, innovative ways. Beyond practical problem-solving, humans displayed creativity in unexpected situations. Sometimes they used humor, improvisation, or unconventional ideas to resolve challenges. The aliens noted that humans often approached problems from angles that seemed illogical at first, but produced effective outcomes. This unpredictability made them extremely difficult to model or control. The fleet's simulations repeatedly failed to match the humans' actual behavior, highlighting the limits of even the most advanced alien predictive tools. Social intelligence was another crucial factor in human resilience. Humans communicated efficiently, understood each other's intentions, and worked collectively, often without explicit commands. Decision-making was flexible, allowing adaptation to rapidly changing conditions. Cooperation and empathy enhanced their efficiency. And even conflict within human groups often led to creative solutions rather than chaos. The fleet observed that this combination of intellect, social awareness, and adaptability made humans uniquely capable of responding to crises. The scouts also studied humans' use of technology, noting how they integrated tools, machines, and natural resources to solve problems. Innovations were applied quickly and shared across communities, showing both ingenuity and rapid dissemination of knowledge. Even in isolated areas, humans improvised advanced solutions, demonstrating that intelligence was not limited to a single center of power. The fleet realized that Earth's decentralized yet highly coordinated problem-solving system was a key reason for humans' extraordinary effectiveness. When the aliens attempted to simulate direct confrontation, introducing minor defensive maneuvers or obstruction, humans adapted almost instantly, anticipating the challenges and adjusting their responses. There was no panic, only rapid learning, innovation, and improvisation. The scouts were astonished at how humans could combine creativity, analysis, and social cooperation to overcome obstacles far greater than their apparent physical or technological capacity. Every experiment revealed layers of intelligence that no simulation had predicted. The Galactic Council, observing the results, understood the full implications. Humans were not just surviving, they were actively shaping their environment, defending their communities, and innovating in real time. Their ability to respond unpredictably and effectively made them a force that could not be underestimated. The fleet recorded every detail, noting that conventional strategies for evaluation or intervention would be futile. Humans were capable of thinking beyond rigid models. By the end of the testing period, the aliens were forced to revise every assumption they had made. Earth's inhabitants had proven themselves resilient, creative, and astonishingly intelligent. Their combination of adaptability, cooperation, and problem-solving had overwhelmed expectations. The fleet concluded that humans were not only capable of defending themselves, but also capable of surprising and challenging far stronger civilizations. The realization settled across the Council and the fleet alike. Earth was extraordinary, and its inhabitants could not be underestimated. The scouts watched silently as humans continued their lives, unaware of the tests above. Yet every reaction, every innovation, and every act of adaptation had demonstrated a species capable of overcoming any challenge through intelligence, creativity, and coordination. The humans' defenses were not based solely on strength or numbers, but on their ability to think, learn, and improvise. A species so unpredictable and capable had never been observed in the galaxy before. And the aliens understood that underestimating them had been the greatest mistake of their history. The reports from the alien fleet spread quickly across the Galactic Council, leaving every member in stunned silence. Earth, a tiny blue planet that had once seemed insignificant, had proven to be extraordinary. The humans had displayed intelligence, creativity, adaptability, and coordination far beyond anything the galaxy had previously observed. Even the most experienced council members admitted that their assumptions had been completely wrong. That this small species could challenge centuries of predictions was both humbling and alarming. The aliens, who had closely monitored humans for months, were forced to reconsider their understanding of life and intelligence. Every scan, signal, and observation had revealed a species capable of solving complex problems, improvising solutions in real time, and coordinating actions across decentralized networks. Humans combined logic, intuition, social awareness, and creativity in ways that no other civilization had achieved. Even minor actions, like building structures or organizing communities, demonstrated strategic thinking, adaptability, and foresight. The Galactic Council realized that humans' unpredictability was their greatest strength. Unlike other civilizations that followed predictable patterns, humans could surprise, innovate, and adapt under pressure. They were capable of thinking outside conventional frameworks, finding new solutions to challenges that would have overwhelmed other species. The scouts reported numerous examples of humans responding to environmental crises, technological failures, and social challenges with ingenuity and resourcefulness. Each response revealed layers of intelligence that no alien model could fully predict. Humans were also socially complex, showing empathy, cooperation, and coordination that enhanced their effectiveness. They communicated ideas, emotions, and strategies across communities, creating networks of learning and collaboration. Even in conflict, humans often turn challenges into opportunities for growth and improvement. The fleet observed that this combination of intelligence, social skill, and adaptability made humans both resilient and formidable, capable of overcoming obstacles far larger than themselves without relying on centralized control or brute force. The Galactic Council debated the potential implications. If a species this capable had existed undetected for so long, what might they achieve in the future? The humans' ability to innovate, adapt, and collaborate could allow them to advance technologically and socially at unprecedented speed. They were not only capable of surviving, but of thriving and transforming their environment creatively. The Council acknowledged that Earth had become a symbol of underestimated potential, a planet whose inhabitants could alter galactic expectations forever. The Scouts detailed humans' creative achievements. Their ability to integrate science, art, and social intelligence into everyday life demonstrated depth and sophistication. Humans were constantly learning from their experiences, experimenting with new ideas, and sharing knowledge across communities. Even small settlements contributed to technological and cultural progress. The decentralized nature of human innovation meant that solutions and improvements emerged from diverse sources, creating a dynamic and evolving society that no single authority could fully control. The fleet also noted that humans were capable of rapid adaptation in response to both natural and artificial challenges. Their responses were not rigid or formulaic, but flexible, inventive, and often surprising. Even when faced with situations beyond their immediate understanding, humans improvised, collaborated, and succeeded. The Scouts realized that this ability to think creatively, coordinate socially, and adapt quickly made humans a species that could not be easily predicted or manipulated. Their intelligence was alive, dynamic, and evolving. As the Galactic Council continued to review the observations, the weight of the discovery became clear. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, believing it to be a minor, insignificant world. Yet the humans had demonstrated a combination of traits: creativity, intelligence, adaptability, social coordination, and resilience that surpassed expectations. Even the most advanced alien civilizations could not claim such a diverse and integrated form of capability. The Council understood that the humans' potential was limitless. Their impact on the galaxy could be profound. The aliens in the fleet remained in orbit, silently observing humans as they went about their lives. Unaware of the scrutiny above, humans continued to innovate, cooperate, and thrive. Every action revealed layers of skill, intelligence, and creativity. The fleet recognized that humans' achievements were not just survival strategies. They were expressions of ingenuity, curiosity, and determination. The Council concluded that any future interaction with humans would require caution, respect, and acknowledgement of their remarkable capabilities. By the end of the observation period, Earth had earned a new reputation across the galaxy. It was no longer seen as a minor, insignificant planet, but as a world of extraordinary potential. The humans had transformed expectations, demonstrating that intelligence, creativity, and adaptability could defy predictions and surpass even the most advanced civilizations. The fleet and the Council alike were forced to acknowledge that the galaxy had made a mistake. Underestimating humans had been a grave error, and the silence that fell over the Council chambers reflected awe, respect, and a hint of fear. The Scouts knew that what they had witnessed was only the beginning. Humans had proven themselves capable, inventive, and unpredictable. Their lives, their intelligence, and their potential would ripple across the galaxy in ways no one could yet imagine. The Council and the fleet understood that Earth was extraordinary, and the humans, underestimated no longer, had earned their place as a species that could shape the course of galactic history.